Welcome back to The Takeout. Aggressive immigration enforcement has led to wave upon wave of deportations. It has also sparked national protests. 9 people have been killed by federal agents. There's also been violence directed at immigration agents and facilities. Let's pick up on that last one. Today, according to authorities, an anti-ICE activist set off an incendiary device of some kind and then tried to spread what authorities believe to be gasoline outside a federal building in Lower Manhattan. That building houses FBI and Immigration and Customs and Enforcement offices. The atmosphere around immigration is tense, and tripwires seemingly can be found everywhere. In this atmosphere, the federal government has dramatically increased the arrest and charging of people accused of assaulting or impeding officers, but many of these cases have fallen apart, either in court or before they've gotten to court, due to insufficient evidence or other defects. Now, federal cases, we should note, rarely collapse like this. The DOJ typically wins 90% of charged cases. New York Times investigative reporter Mike McIntire was part of an investigation that looked into this, and he joins me now. He's also the author of a new book called Ricochet: Guns, Greed, and the American Way of Violence. Congratulations on the book, Mike, but let's talk about this piece that appeared in Sunday's New York Times. A deep dive into the number of cases and their disposition. What are the big takeaways?
Well, thanks for having me, first of all. We started seeing cases toward the end of last year and early this year of people charged with assaulting federal agents during the immigration raids that were falling apart, cases that were being dismissed or acquitted by juries. And we wondered how widespread this was. Now, there's no easy way to kind of go into the court dockets and right away figure out how many are immigration related. So we had to spend months going through thousands of pages of court documents until we found over 550 of these cases and got records for every single one of them, reviewed hearing transcripts, looked at video, interviewed people. What we found is that, as you said earlier, more than 90% typically of federal criminal cases are successful. Here, we're hovering around a success rate of about 50%. And what we're finding is that many of these cases just never should have been brought in the first place, and that juries and judges are basically saying they don't believe the federal government.
And they don't believe the federal government because either the video evidence doesn't back them up or eyewitness testimony does not back up the initial assertions.
Oftentimes it's video. You will see affidavits, sworn statements submitted into court by federal agents saying that one thing happened, that an immigrant or a protester attacked them. And then video surfaces either from video body cams or someone's Ring doorbell video, which basically disproves the entire narrative. These have been criticized broadly by judges who are getting sort of tired of some of this. We found at least 30 cases in which judges admonished the government, either prosecutors or agents, for destroying or withholding evidence, for making exaggerated claims, and other misconduct.
Mike, it also says in the report, in dozens of cases, I'm reading from it directly, court records and videos show that federal agents were the first to get physical, including shoving, tackling, or pepper spraying defendants. Many defendants successfully argued that the assaults they were accused of were actually acts of self-defense.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something you see hardly at all before this immigration crackdown happened. And a good example of one of these type cases is one that we highlighted in our story. It involved 2 young mothers in Charlotte, North Carolina, who were engaged in a peaceful protest against immigration raids in their community. And basically in response to that, they were followed in their car by a couple of unmarked vehicles with masked and armed men in them who proceeded to corner them in a driveway. And when the women were terrified, they were calling 911 asking for help. While they were doing this inside the car, one of the agents proceeded to smash the driver's side window using the barrel of his rifle to do it. They took the women out, arrested them, charged them with assault. No assault occurred on their part. And pretty soon prosecutors dropped that case. They dismissed it because there's no way to proceed with it. But that's sort of one example of the kind of claims that were being filed by the federal government in these cases that in some cases really kind of disrupted people's lives, left them terrified, and then only to see them vanish later when they encountered any kind of scrutiny.
And Mike, very quickly, the federal government is using a seldom used statute, as I understand, to broaden this definition of impeding a federal officer to mean almost anything.
Yeah, I mean, this one statute is called 18 USC 111, makes it a crime to assault or forcibly impede a federal agent in the conduct of their duties. The key word here is forcibly. There has to be something more than just simply, following someone in their car, if you're a protester, or blowing a whistle, or engaging in some constitutionally protected speech. And that component has been missing in many of these cases. And so it's really kind of a misuse of this particular statute that has never been seen before.
It's a thoroughly documented piece of American journalism, and I recommend it to everyone. Mike McIntire of the New York Times, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.